I have I have thoughts about the card. You've got first, you've got second, you've got third, and the participation trophy is the United States Championship. That's not what it should be. This is not a Smart Mark podcast. This is just a guy who loves professional wrestling, who understands the difference between reality and fiction, appreciates great storytelling, and the fact that characters matter. Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. I'm Everson, your host. We cover WWE, professional wrestling here. We do a little bit deeper of a dive into the things that we like, and we talk about them in an honest fashion. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. You can catch this podcast everywhere you catch podcasts. Amazon, Google, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcast fix. If you want to reach us directly, you can reach me at thelariatlounge@gmail.com. Today, we're going to be talking about WrestleMania 41. Last year, I got the distinct pleasure of attending WrestleMania 40 in person in Philadelphia. I went with some friends of a local podcast, Ring Rust Radio, and I went with some of the fans of the show. I was a fan of the show, and we had a great time. We had seats in the press box. We had the best seats in the house. And let me tell you something. It was definitely an experience that if you've never had this experience and you are a wrestling fan, give yourself the pleasure of going to WrestleMania, seeing what it is that you love live, and experiencing the energy that only WrestleMania can give you. I'm not entirely sure what it's like to go to other really big shows. I've been to SmackDown before. It was a great energy, great feel. We went to NXT Stand and Deliver while we were in Philly as well. And that was a great show too. But man, let me tell you, night one and night two specifically of WrestleMania 40, by and large, one of the best events I have ever been to. And I've been to quite a few music events as well, but nothing compares to WrestleMania. So the hype for this year's WrestleMania for me is real. I'm sure it's real for you as well. It takes on a slightly different feel too now that I've been and I'm watching the culmination of a year's worth of storytelling off of the epic conclusions to the stories from last year. This is also the first WrestleMania that I'll be watching doing this podcast. So we're going to be doing this together. This podcast is releasing on Friday, April 18th. The podcast official launch will be the following Friday. So when this goes up, you will be able to access it, but it'll also be accessed with, 4 episodes next Friday. So it's going to be an experience to watch this. I'm going to pull together a group of friends and we're going to watch this together on Discord. So it's going to be fun to see these stories play out. But this card is very interesting. And I have I have thoughts about the card. First of all, none of them are really bad. I don't have anything bad really to say about the card, but I have some interesting thoughts. And the winners of these matches, I really think WWE needs to strike while the iron is hot for some people. I definitely think that they need to make the right call with certain matches, not put certain people over right now, and make sure that coming out of WrestleMania 41, going into this new season of WrestleMania, that they've got stories set up specifically for SummerSlam, specifically for Survivor Series. That's something for a later conversation. Today, we're going to be covering WrestleMania 41, Night 1 and Night 2 card. Who's competing? Who should be winning? Who should lose? And why? Because the stories matter. Going past the stories, the character development matters. Okay? This is not a Smart Mark podcast. This is just a guy who loves professional wrestling, who understands the difference between reality and fiction, appreciates great storytelling, and the fact that characters matter. Okay? All right, so let's just jump directly into this match card. So I printed this off of Wikipedia, this match card. This is not particularly the order that I believe these matches are going to go in, because I'm sure whoever posted this to Wikipedia has absolutely no idea what the actual match order is. But I do believe that night 1 and night 2 are already set in stone. So we're going to go through night 1 first. We're going to go through match by match, who's competing and who should win and why. So match 1, and mind you, like I said, these are not in order, but match 1 on my list is the War Raiders versus the New Day. Now, honest take here. Let's just start the first episode of the Lariat Lounge the right way, okay? We're honest to our word. I do not think that the War Raiders have been really great tag champions. I don't think that they are very good tag champions right now. That could be a combination of writing decisions, but I also feel like you have to bring something compelling to your matches that the audience wants to latch on to. That's not all a product of the creative writing team. You have to bring something that the fans want to grab onto, that they want to cheer for, or they want to boo. I just feel like the War Raiders sit in this really comfortable space in the middle where people aren't really cheering for them. They're not really booing for them. And to me, that's kind of not where you want to be. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that feels that way. But you want people to either like you or hate you. Do you want them to cheer for you or you want them to boo you? You want to get some kind of reaction. It doesn't really seem like the War Raiders get any real reaction whatsoever. Now, the New Day, they have been handled, in my opinion, very poorly since their heel turn. Their heel turn was probably one of the better laid storylines that WWE has done in a while. The breakup, or the seeming breakup between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, was very well laid out. It was very well played. Some of the character work between Xavier and Kofi was incredible. The nuance, that one backstage segment that Kofi and Xavier had after a loss, where they were really going in on each other with regards to why they were losing, who was at fault, and they were really pulling no punches. You know, just from watching Up, Up, Down, Down, following these two on social media and seeing them all around the WWE universe, that these two guys are great friends in real life. And I think when you know the people that you're working with, when you really understand your dance partner, you can pull off things like this, because any real friendship is going to have things that are contentious amongst the two of you. Things that the two of you may not always agree on. There's definitely things between myself and my wife and my siblings that over the years, in knowing each other for as long as we have, we've rubbed each other the wrong way. So when you can really play up on those things, you can really make for some compelling stories that don't necessarily have to speak to the reality of any type of real problems, but it speaks to the issues that two brothers can have with each other that real brothers, real siblings, or anybody who has a real relationship with a real partner can understand. They played that up so well. I know I watched that segment multiple times just because the character work that those two were displaying was chef's kiss. It was really, really good. They deserved to have a way better story arc after that heel turn than they got. That being said, we've gotten to the point where the New Day are here. They're challenging for the tag titles at WrestleMania. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I remember exactly which one they're challenging for, because I believe there are two sets, right? I don't even know who the other tag champs are, if there are any other ones. There may just be one set. I know at one point they had two sets of tag team champions. So it may just be the War Raiders right now. That's all I can really think of. No. The Street Profits are tag champs as well. But don't get me confused and telling you something wrong about which set of champions they are. But the New Day have gotten to this point where they are going into a championship match against the War Raiders. You have to pay off this heel turn with some kind of real victory, because the New Day have been, generally speaking, getting served loss after loss after this heel turn. And credit to how great of a tag team Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are, and the character equity that the New Day has rightfully earned with the WWE universe that they can take these losses while still being hella entertaining and not losing anything with the fans. It would be very easy to take a character who is hot, put them on the back burner, and watch them cool off to the point where people don't really care as much as they should. And WWE should have capitalized when they had the chance. We've got an example of that further down the card. I'll speak on it when we get there. But if you watch WWE like I do, you probably already know who I'm talking about. Not their fault. I put it more on WWE. But anyway, when it comes to this match, you got to give the title to the New Day. You have to give it to them. I would even love, here's what I would love to see. Let's give the New Day the titles, right? For the angle, let's play up what the New Day attempted to do the last time they fought the War Raiders. It was singles competition. I believe it was Kofi, and he was wrestling Ivar, I believe. I believe he was wrestling Ivar. Anyway, the match goes off the rails. They attempt to end this guy's career in the ring. They both have history of neck injuries, and they were attempting to sandwich scissor this dude's head with the steel chair. What I would love, put the titles on the New Day. Let the New Day win. Let them beat the War Raiders slightly dirty. Let them beat the War Raiders slightly dirty. You could have them beat the War Raiders clean. You could have them beat the War Raiders clean and follow up with a really dirty angle. But either way you slice it, the match needs to go over with the New Day winning. Have the New Day win and let them do a really, really despicable, nasty beatdown on the War Raiders. Let them get to the point where they're about to do something that they're quote unquote going to regret. Boom. Big E's music hits. Big E comes out to the ring. He's out there to stop the New Day from going too far. He gets in the ring. The New Day see him. They approach Big E. Big E looks at them and he joins in on the beatdown. We have not really heard a whole lot from Big E recently, aside from when that ridiculously stupid comedian that was on the at commentary made that joke about his neck, which, by the way, WWE should never let this fool come back and do anything with WWE again. This idiot knows nothing about professional wrestling, but makes this joke about Big E's neck. That's just not cool, man. So this dude can go away and, have his comedy special in a ditch or something. Who cares? I don't. But Big E should join in on the beatdown with the New Day and totally wreck the War Raiders. Big E is back. The New Day is complete, and they are fully heel. A full New Day heel faction turn. That's what I think we should do with New Day. WWE, can we please make this happen? Because I think Big E, if he's ready to come back, let's go full on with the New Day. Let's not play any games here. Let's just go and make them the heel tag team that mirrors the great New Day face tag team runs that they've had in the past. Let them be the trio again that hands the title around. Let them use the Freebird rules. Whoever's fighting this night, it's the two of them. And let them just be an incredible heel faction. That's what I think we should do with the New Day. No disrespect to the War Raiders, but we got to get the titles off of them. And we really need to build up some more tag teams. So I think the sooner we can get this off of the War Raiders and put it on the New Day, we can bring in some more tag teams that maybe don't have as much clout as a New Day and let them, as a trio, build up new tag teams and revitalize this dying division, because the men's tag team division is gasping for air. So up next, we have, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Now, let me say this first. I am not one of the people who finds El Grande Americano offensive. I'm not going to attempt to speak for the people who do find it offensive, because your offense is based primarily on the characterization of this character, El Grande Americano, and the fact that Chad Gable is a Caucasian man as a luchador. I'm not entirely sure that the outrage makes a lot of sense, but to each their own. I don't think that the man's pretending to be Latino. So, that's your business, not mine. But I find the El Grande Americano character ridiculous, but that's professional wrestling, man. We've had so many ridiculous gimmicks. We had a guy who turned his hand into a snake and bit people. I'm sorry. Let's just be real about the medium of entertainment that we're consuming right now. This is WWE. This is professional wrestling. Simon Miller always says goofy wrestling for life. I agree. Let the goofy stuff rock. If you don't rock with it, cool. That's fine. There's plenty of other wrestling for you to watch. You don't have to shut down the things that you don't rock with just because you don't rock with it. But this one, I think, is very easy. Rey Mysterio should beat El Grande Americano. I don't really see this El Grande Americano thing going past WrestleMania. I just don't see how it stays interesting. I think the story has kind of run its course at this point. So let's put them in a match. Let Rey go over. Let him unmask El Grande Americano. You know, I'll say this. I don't want WWE to do this, but if they were to continue this story arc, what they really should do, have Chad Gable. No, that would be dumb. What I was going to say was have Chad Gable not wrestle the match at WrestleMania. Have a body double in the ring and have Rey beat him and unmask him, and it's not Chad Gable, right? And then Chad Gable comes out from the back like, I told you it was not me. I told you it was not me. That would be interesting, but that would be the interesting angle if WWE decided to keep this up, and I do not think that they should keep this up. This story has run its course. Let's move past this. Rey and Chad are going to have a great match. Let it be a great match. It'll be a nice segue into what comes after that. I'm not entirely sure what match that is because we don't really know what the match card order is, but it'll be a fun match. It'll be good for the live attendance fans. We won't talk about it again really after WrestleMania Saturday. So Rey Mysterio goes over. That one's easy. So next up on the card, okay, so Naomi versus Jade Cargill. What a well-built story this was. First of all, let's give Naomi her flowers now. Naomi has done an incredible job convincing the fans that she is this character that she is now. I am an avid comic book reader. At least I was when I was young, right? But I still follow a lot of comic book stuff. I am huge into Marvel, into DC, into character lore, and I've been following these characters in this medium for decades now. The best heels are the ones who seem and feel justified in their actions. There needs to be something about the way that they approach the actions and the things that they do that when said out loud, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Does not justify their actions, but it adequately explains them, right? There's a difference between justification and explanation. So when you tell me Jade came in and all of a sudden, all of the spotlight was on her, I worked extremely hard when I was here the first go around. When I left WWE, I went to TNA. I remade myself. I came back to WWE. All of the accolades that I have, I earned. I have always been here for my friend, Bianca Belair. And in you come, all of the spotlight is on you. And all of a sudden, I get kicked to the curb. I get put on the sidelines. While you, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair go on to win the tag team championships. I did not want to be sidelined. I did not want to be put on the back burner and overlooked. And I felt like you were destroying something that was great. And so I did what I felt I needed to do to stand up for myself and to show my friend that I really care about her, that I'm not using her to get ahead. But if you're not going to take me seriously, then I'm going to make you take me seriously. I'm going to stand up for myself. You're not going to continue to push me to the side. That is such a great explanation for why Naomi would do what she does. It does not justify what she did, though. What she did was still bad guy stuff. Okay, I'm not going to use right or wrong because usually right or wrong is relative to the person who is committing the action. But for her, that explanation in her mind justifies her actions, but it doesn't. It doesn't make what she did the right thing to do. It doesn't make it correct. It doesn't make it the good guy position. That makes for a compelling heel. And listen, I'm no actor, but from what I've heard over the years, when people cry on camera, they draw those emotions that bring forth those tears from spaces and places that are real to them. In order to do that, you really have to, be a professional at what you're currently doing, in this case, professional wrestling, whether you're in the ring in front of thousands of fans or you're backstage and the camera is just in front of you. Being able to mitigate and understand the stage that you're on and still be raw enough to dive into those in-depth feelings and emotions to draw out tears on command and then still act out your character and your storyline through that. That is, in my opinion, that is high quality professional wrestling performance that Naomi has been putting on. She deserves way more respect than I think a lot of people give her. And she deserves, in my opinion, to beat Jade Cargill in this match. Now, I know some people would say you got to put Jade over because Jade is the rising star. She is arguably the biggest new face in the main roster women's division. And I wouldn't disagree with you. I would not disagree with you. I think, however, Jade as an attraction is undeniable. I think you can place her anywhere on the card and she's going to always get over with the fans and the public. When you have the ability to do that, you're good. You're set. You can leverage that into new story arcs, new storylines, new title contention, and you're always going to be validated by your physique, your athletic ability, and your star power, the ability to draw the fans in and convince them of the legitimacy of you. I honestly think that's part of the reason why Vince always liked the big muscly dudes, because it's easy to imagine from a layperson's perspective getting beat down by somebody who's super strong. To throw someone around is an incredible Herculean feat that a lot of men in particular convince themselves in their minds that they could probably do. But in reality, we can't. We can't actually do these things, right? We can equalize those sentiments that we carry by doing certain things, right? We can take self-defense. We can learn martial arts. We can learn to use different types of weapons or whatever, right? We can also body build and we can build muscle. We can build strength and endurance. These types of qualities always lend to not just a larger than life persona with regards to presentation in the ring, but also a legitimacy to what it is that you're portraying in the ring, right? Which is whooping someone's ass. And so Jade, in that respect, is always going to be head and shoulders, literally and figuratively, over 80% of the women's division. So, and listen, this takes nothing away from Jade. Jade has a magnetism about her that is hard to replicate, and it's an innate thing. You can't teach it. And so Jade is going to be good. I don't think Jade needs to win this match. I think Naomi absolutely does. And you're going to see a running theme with this in the WrestleMania card this year, which is you need to justify the heel turn. Naomi needs to justify all of this action that she's taken and the explanation that she's given that justify her actions, at least in her mind, right? If you make all of these changes and then you don't win, then what was it for? You look stupid. And nobody needs to look stupid in this situation because everybody can come out winning. You need to put Naomi over Jade. Jade can bounce back from this. She's going to be fine. Naomi can move off to another feud. You need strong heels in order to make your baby faces stand tall. And so Naomi needs to go over Jade. WWE, let's make that happen. So the next match that I've got listed here, Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. Now, this is just me, okay? I like all parties involved in this match. I, like most people, think that Jacob Fatu is extremely talented. I definitely think he has something that is really unique to him, particularly in his presentation, in his speech. His wrestling skills are really good. I just think personally that Jacob Fatu, I just don't think he needs to win this match. I don't think Jacob needs to win this match. LA Knight needs this way more than Jacob Fatu needs it, okay? I don't think that Jacob Fatu is in the same position that LA Knight was in late last year. LA Knight, late last year, was one of the hottest commodities in WWE. They should have pulled the trigger on him sooner. Love Shinsuke, but his United States title run, like a lot of his title runs recently in WWE, have been lackluster. Interesting characters. And this new ghoul Oni version of Shinsuke, that was cool. The presentation was great. And his music has always been top notch. So I'm not really taking anything away from Shinsuke because I'm a fan of Shinsuke. But the reality is his runs as of late have been lackluster. I don't think WWE really knows what to do with him. I think the language barrier is always a hindrance. And Shinsuke may be at the point in his career right now where that doesn't really bother him a whole lot. And so whatever is good for the goose is good for the gander. If he's good with it, I'm good with it. So that being said, they should have never put the title on Shinsuke. Not that quickly. You should have given it to LA Knight when he was really on fire. When he was really hot, you should have given it to him. I think he has cooled off significantly. And I was watching SmackDown last week, and, I'm reminded when I see LA Knight on screen and when he has a microphone and he talks, I'm reminded why we like him. He's got an energy about him that is very old school, in my opinion, and it's missed, at least to me. It's missed in the WWE. We don't have a lot of that anymore. And so seeing LA Knight be cooled off so much by WWE creative and not striking while that iron was hot with him, it bothered me just a little bit. And I understand that you cannot have every single person that has the crowd moving in a particular way at the top of a card. I understand that. There's just not enough spots, despite the fact that WWE currently has more titles in rotation than they have in a very long time. But I get it. Still, we're at the point that we are right now, which is LA Knight is not as hot as he could be. But I think the United States title right now is even cooler than LA Knight's buzz. The United States title, man, it needs to have the legitimacy brought to it in the way that the Intercontinental Championship had with Gunther. I think Gunther was a great IC champ. I think Braun Breaker is a great IC champ. I think LA Knight could be a great United States champion if WWE would start treating the United States Championship like it was co-equal to the IC title. But they don't. They definitely treat their titles like there is a real hierarchy. The WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship. Now, whether you do this yourself or not, I'm not entirely sure. But oftentimes we can subconsciously make parallels to things that we have learned in our lifetime with regards to how we grade different things, right? If I told you that I have three things, one of them is A, one of them is B, one of them is C, right? And then I hand you one of these things and I'll tell you, hey, I'm giving you this thing. This is the C of the group. Part of your mind is automatically going to think it's not first because first is A. A is the first letter, followed by B. B is the second letter. The third letter is C. In our culture, in our society, we have ascribed meaning to first, second, third, A, B, C. That's how we get graded in school. That's how we rank in most competitions, right? First, second, and third. There is no fourth. There is no bronze. There is no medal after bronze. Okay. So when you don't treat the United States Championship as co-equal in level to the Intercontinental Championship, what you're essentially saying is the United States Championship does not make the podium. It does not rank. You've got first, you've got second, you've got third, and the participation trophy is the United States Championship. That's not what it should be, but that's what it is with WWE. And what they really should do is they really should unify the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship into the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. First of all, that sounds incredible, right? The WWE World Heavyweight Championship, okay? Then there needs to be the second tier title, which is the WWE Intercontinental Championship. And then third is the WWE United States Champion. That automatically, subconsciously gives the United States Championship more meaning than any open challenge that John Cena could ever give it. It automatically gives more credibility than anybody calling any one of these titles the Workhorse Championship. I'm sorry, that does not carry water for anybody who's keeping score. Let's just be real. It doesn't carry water for anybody who's actually keeping score. Shout out to Seth Rollins for doing everything that he could to make the World Heavyweight Championship feel legitimate. And I think he did, but he shouldn't have had to, not with the lineage that that title has. But if WWE is going to have these two titles, the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship, together at the same time, they need to rank them so that they mean something. So all of that being said, the only way I think at this point the United States Championship gets any respect put on its name is if you give it a lengthy title run. Let the other titles move around a little bit because Roman held the WWE Championship for a very long time. I don't think that needs to happen all the time to legitimize championships. The WWE Championship does not need to be legitimized. It's there. And I think Gunther in his long title run and the fact that he's really good, have legitimized the IC title where it used to not really mean a whole lot. The World Heavyweight Championship, if you just position it as silver, then it means something more. So change the ranking system. But while we're at the place that we're at, the United States Championship needs to have a lengthy title run. That's how you bring back LA Knight. That's how you legitimize the United States Championship. Right? Make LA Knight a long reigning United States champion. But next time you look up, dang, how long has LA Knight had the US championship? He's had it for like 2 years. Who has he beat? Jacob Fatu. He's beat this person. He's beat that person. So that the next person that beats him for the United States championship is made to a certain extent. And then you built LA Knight up to where he can challenge for something else. There was a time when the Ultimate Warrior, as the Intercontinental Champion, challenged Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania, and Hulk Hogan was the WWF Champion. At no point in that match, at least to me, did the Ultimate Warrior feel like he was second fiddle to Hogan. Now, that's a great example, in my opinion, of the man making the title and not the title making the man. Because Warrior was over. He was very much over at the point when he won the IC title. But that does not change the fact that what I said was absolutely true. Warrior never felt like he was second fiddle to Hogan. The IC champion should be like a silver medalist in a competition. The IC champion should be a person who on the right day could absolutely be capable of beating the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That's the way it should be. You should be next up. And by proxy, if that were the case, you unified those top two titles into the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm going to keep saying that until WWE catches on and makes the right decision. But when you do that and you unify, then you make the WWE Intercontinental Championship silver medal. Then bronze is not awful. Bronze means you got to the podium. You medaled. You are next in line. And it brings some legitimacy to that U.S. championship. But until WWE decides to do that, LA Knight needs to win this. Jacob Fatu, in my opinion, is a lot like Jade Cargill. He's undeniable. The people who like him because they like him, because of his attitude, because of his demeanor, because of his wordplay, his promos, and his wrestling ability. It's all there. So he's going to be good. He's going to be good. Plus, they need to really wrap up this Bloodline 2.0 storyline. I think it's kind of run its course, in my opinion. So don't wrap the United States title up in that storyline. Let LA Knight win. Let LA Knight move on to another feud with someone else who can challenge him for that title, and they can have some banger matches and raise both their stock up. And Jacob Fatu is going to be just fine. So LA Knight needs to go over at WrestleMania 41. Next up, Tiffy Time versus Charlotte Flair. Let me tell you something about this. This match, I feel like this match is going to be really good because both participants are really good. But nobody is of the mindset right now that the build for this has been stellar. But it can be a really good match. I definitely do not feel like the right course of action is for Charlotte to win this match. I do not think that Charlotte winning this match does a service to Tiffany Stratton. Charlotte is already a made woman, and she does not need to win this. I would let Tiffany Stratton win this match, let her move on, or you could do another match where Charlotte beats her. Maybe Charlotte beats her if you want to keep this going, which I wouldn't. But if you want to keep this going, let Charlotte beat her at SummerSlam. You know, or what's coming up? Bad Blood, if they do Bad Blood again. They definitely got Bad Blood. That's for sure. So you could have her beat Tiffany at Bad Blood. Have Tiffany Stratton beat Charlotte at WrestleMania. This sends Charlotte over the edge. Charlotte needs something anyway. I'm not a huge fan of Charlotte Flair. I don't really like her character. I don't think I ever have, but I had a ton of respect for her athleticism, her ability in the ring. And so it didn't really matter to me particularly. But I think what this feud in its calamity has exposed, to me anyway, is that Charlotte Flair has a PR problem. She has a real PR problem with the fans. She has a real PR problem that is not going to go away just because you put the title on her. I think the goodwill for her father, Ric Flair, has either run its course, or this new crop of WWE fans don't care about the Nature Boy and his legacy anymore. And so no one cares that Charlotte Flair's dad is Ric Flair. No one cares that Charlotte Flair is chasing her father's legacy with 16 championships. I don't think anyone cares anymore. And I think because no one cares anymore, I don't think the persona that she has, which generally speaking has gone unchanged for the entirety of her career, is resonating with people anymore. If I want to compare Charlotte to any of her four horsewomen contemporaries, Bayley, her character has changed multiple times over the decade that she's been here. Becky Lynch has absolutely changed in the time that she's been here. Mercedes Moné, who was Sasha Banks, she went through a few changes, but not as many. But she's also not here anymore. So there's that part. But Charlotte Flair is still here. And aside from slight music changes, she's been the same Charlotte she's been since her arrival. Sometimes she's face, sometimes she's heel, but she's still the same person. I think that's the reason why you have some critics and commentators of Charlotte saying things like she's always better when she's heel. I don't disagree with you, but I think that you make those statements when you only have a quarter to flip. When your character is less of a die that you can roll and get multiple sides, and they're more of a quarter, you're going to have one side that plays better than the other. But just because we know that Charlotte is a better heel than a face doesn't mean that that heel character is going to be fresh, is going to be new, or that anyone is going to care. And I think that's what we're running into right now with Charlotte. I just don't think the fans care. I don't think they care about what she's doing in the ring. Now, this is aside from the bungling of her return, in my opinion, that was creatively pitched to her. If that was creatively pitched to her. I'm not in these writers' rooms, so I don't know if this was her idea to come back with the yacht and come back with the rich girl persona. I'm also not that person that believes that, the best course of action for her would have been to come back, with the workout videos. Now she's fighting back from injury, and that be the best thing for her, because I still am not convinced that Charlotte can play a different version of herself. I'm still not convinced that what she can give us is anything other than what she has given us, just with some slight heel or face variations. I don't think that she has it in her yet to endear herself to the fans. I think the fans respect her, but I don't think that she endears herself to the fans. Now, I think that would have been the best course of action to do if you were planning on bringing her back as a face, however, is to give us something that faces would do, or something that is a bit more in line with the heroic comeback. But I don't think she left as a hero. I don't think she left in terms where people felt bad for her leaving. Now, granted, whenever somebody leaves with an injury, we obviously want them to get better, to be well, and to come back to the profession that they love to do, obviously. But from a character perspective, if the vignettes that you premiere for her put her in a heelish light, in this snotty rich girl on a yacht, I'm better than you persona, why in the world would you bring her back with this veneer of I missed you guys and all this stuff? The incongruence is deafening. So I think WWE fumbled the ball there, right? I don't think they did what they should have done with Charlotte. But Charlotte also has not done what she needs to do to endear herself to the fans in order to really make a babyface aspect of her really pop. So I think that they should really give her something new to play with if she can handle it. Let Tiffany beat her at WrestleMania. Let her lose on the grandest stage. And let the descent of Charlotte Flair commence. Let her descend into a space where the glitz and the glam are less there, are less present, right? Now, I'm going to characterize it like this. I'm not saying that WWE should even do it like this, but what if Charlotte Flair came out to the ring with less sparkly ring gear? What if Charlotte Flair came to the ring and she wasn't wearing the Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair-esque robes? Like, what if she came to the ring and just started kicking ass? Like, if there's one thing that I have learned in my many, many decades of watching WWE is that when you take a character and you just make them start kicking ass, the fans tend to resonate. Now, that doesn't mean you make them win titles, because I don't think that's going to work. I honestly did not in any way want to see Charlotte win at WrestleMania. I don't want to see her with the title. You need to put Charlotte in a position where she can come back and start kicking ass and taking names, right? Make her a legitimate contender in a different light. Because truth be told, Tiffany Stratton is already in that general spot of the pretty girl, the blonde girl who's super athletic and talks a bunch of trash because she can and she's better than you. That's Tiffany's bag now. Charlotte needs to evolve. And it's like, as long as WWE and Charlotte Flair refuse to evolve, I don't know what you do with her. I don't know how you manage Charlotte Flair. I just don't. Tiffany Stratton would serve better with the title. She would serve better with winning the title at WrestleMania. Send Charlotte into the descent. Send her into the void. Let this loss at WrestleMania put Charlotte in the upside down, into the sunken place. Let her come back, and we can go either way. Charlotte can come back and challenge Tiffany Stratton at Bad Blood. And if you really wanted to put the title on Charlotte there, you could, and then let Tiffany fight her way back and beat Charlotte at SummerSlam. Or you could let Tiffany beat Charlotte at Bad Blood and send Charlotte further down the rabbit hole and really build this new Charlotte Flair. And then let them have their blow-off match at SummerSlam where Charlotte beats Tiffany and wins the title. And then let Charlotte go on her kick-ass take names Charlotte Flair run and define herself, because she's never going to do it while she's underneath her father's shadow, a shadow of which nobody really cares about anymore. At least not the current WWE fans. They just don't care. So give them something to care about. Tiffany Stratton goes over at WrestleMania 41. Let's see what we got next. I'll take a sip of water. Okay, so next up on the card for night one, Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now listen, I am not one of the people who thinks that Jey Uso is subpar, that he's just a tag team wrestler, that he's just a gimmick, that he's just an entrance. I don't know if these are the same people who cheered for the Usos when they were in the bloodline. I'm trying to choose something recent because I'm trying to make sure I understand the type of person that would make a statement like Jey Uso is enhancement talent, or why are we so bent on putting a catchphrase in an entrance as a title holder. I'm trying to put myself in that mindset. And the mindset I'm guessing here, right? The mindset of the person who would make that type of statement is a person who did not really watch professional wrestling when Jimmy and Jay as the Usos were an incredible tag team. They don't see and understand how good Jey Uso really is. No, he's not Gunther. No, he's not Roman Reigns, but he is Jey Uso. And listen, you can't just take that intro and slap it on someone else and it just be a thing. Let's remember, Jey Uso's theme music is the Usos theme music. It is not what it is if the Usos were not who they were. If the Usos are not who they are, that theme music does not exist, and Jey does not have the background music, the beat to the bop that is the yeet. He does not have that. Big shout out to Jimmy Uso, but Jimmy Uso's theme music just don't hit like that. It doesn't. The fact is that the Usos theme music always hit. It was always good. Now, yes, if you are a music person, you'll get that they added a bit more percussion. They looped up a lot of the part that's repeatable because they wanted to make it a stadium bop. They wanted it to be a beat that came on that everybody resonated with. And they did a good job, honestly. They really did. And they leaned into Jay's Cali style and persona to bring all of that to life. Now, listen, I was just championing the Ultimate Warrior. He was my favorite wrestler as a child, him and the Macho Man. But listen, the Ultimate Warrior was not a great wrestler. He was not even really a good wrestler. But for the time, he was a great character, and it was all intro. When his music hit and Warrior ran to the ring, he brought the energy to levels that very few others at the time could bring it to. All the little warriors were on their feet with their little warrior mask pulled down. And when he hit those ropes and he was shaking those ropes, dude, he had the arenas in the palm of his hand. The Warrior was not a great promo. A lot of his promos nowadays get memed, but nobody denies the greatness that was the Warrior. But they forget that the Warrior was not really a great wrestler and he wasn't a great promo, but his music hit. That intro was dope and it worked for him. Jey Uso is a far better wrestler than the Ultimate Warrior ever was. Far better, far more competent in the ring. And he's much better on the microphone than the Warrior ever was. And he's got a really great banging interactive intro. His intro is the thing that wrestlers around the world would kill for. The ability to engage the fans the way that he does. Not everybody has access to. And Jay has it. I don't hear a lot of wrestlers in the industry saying what the fans, some of the fans, are saying about Jay. But if I'm being honest, because that's what we do here in the Lariat Lounge, those fans can be ignored. If you're hating on Jey Uso for the reasons that I previously stated, you're welcome to your opinion, right? When you're sitting over there and the rest of us are yeeting all over Las Vegas, you can go get some popcorn or something, because there's no reason why Gunther wins here. And I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think we know Jay goes over at WrestleMania. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship. It's the feel-good story of WrestleMania, because we got some real good complex storytelling that's happening over night 1 and night 2 that, if executed correctly, WWE can really cash in on some of these storylines that they've been telling, and it's really going to be incredible. So let's have the feel-good moment this year be Jey Uso beating Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. What's next? Let's see. Is that just night 1? Oh, no, that's both nights. Okay. So this is the last match of night 1. Okay. So for the last match of night 1, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins with Paul Heyman in Punk's corner. I'm just going to go ahead and say this now because I've been thinking a lot about this, okay? As much as I hear the conversation online being that CM Punk should win at WrestleMania 41, I think Seth Rollins should win at WrestleMania 41. I think there's a reason why CM Punk's favor is simply to have Paul Heyman in his corner. I think that there's a reason why the stakes of that favor were as simple as having Paul Heyman in his corner. I also think that there's reason to believe that Heyman is going to go side with Rollins. And I don't think that it's going to be as nefarious as it could be. For one, we all kind of recognize at this point that Roman does not need to win this match. He gains nothing from this. Roman is a made man. He's never going to fall off now. So he has no need to win this. I think CM Punk getting his WrestleMania main event is enough. And I am a CM Punk fan. I was a CM Punk fan originally when he was first in WWE. So I'm happy to see him back. I think the storyline has been pretty compelling. I think, however, the glue that has held this story together, has been Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins has been the glue that has been holding a lot of WWE stuff together for a very long time. And the man gets a lot of credit, but in my opinion, not as much credit as he's due. I think Rollins and Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens fit in a very unique category of heels right now. And Rollins isn't even a heel, but I'm saying this because I think he's about to become a heel. But they fit in a very unique classification of characters where when you listen to the breakdown of their arguments, they're not wrong. We were just talking earlier about Naomi. Naomi is in that category right now as well. She's not wrong. The justified heel is the best one. So let's look at it. When he spared Paul Heyman from the stomp last week, part of the argument that he's made to Paul in that segment was Roman Reigns does not care about you. Roman Reigns uses you because he's the tribal chief. CM Punk doesn't care about you either. He deserted you the same way he deserted this company. Then he comes back and he only leverages you for this favor. He wasn't around when the bloodline put you out of action. Neither was Roman. They have been setting up Paul with this character trait of paying back his debt. He does not like to owe people. He pays what he owes. The reason why he is going to go with CM Punk to the ring at 41 is because he asked Punk for a favor. And Punk asked for a favor in return. Paul Heyman pays back his debt. Therefore, he's not trying to betray his tribal chief, but he has to pay back this favor. He considers himself a man of his word, and he pays what he owes. By accompanying CM Punk to the ring at 41 to play this psychological game on Roman, he pays back Punk what he owes. Rollins could have stomped him, but he didn't. Then he told Heyman, now you owe me a favor. The look on Heyman's face seems to indicate that a bargain has somehow been struck, that Heyman understands that Rollins could have taken him out, but he didn't. And now he owes Seth a favor. I would love to see Seth call in that favor in their match. And in the match, the favor that he owes is for Rollins to have Heyman help him cheat to win. Somehow. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to mean slide Rollins a chair, even though Rollins has been foreshadowing the chair shot quite a bit. And he's already done it to Roman. He could do the chair shot to Punk. Now, triple threat rules, if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe there are any disqualifications in triple threat rules. I could be wrong, right? But that rule does not necessarily have to apply in order to speak to what I'm talking about, right? Rollins could have Heyman hand him a chair. Heyman, paying back what he owes, does it. Have Rollins win the match. And then afterwards, I don't know. You could have Roman have a fallout with Heyman. You could have Punk have a fallout with Heyman. Heyman leaves, but he doesn't leave with Rollins. And then over the next week or so, have Heyman state his case as to why he is pissed that both of these men, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, are looking at him like he's the bad guy. And then he states his case. And that case that he states sounds remarkably similar to what Seth Rollins told him about the two of them. I don't think that Heyman should join Rollins because he likes him. Heyman is a chameleon who has had different managerial relationships on screen with all the people that he manages. He had a different relationship with Punk than he had with Lesnar. He had a different relationship from Lesnar that he had with Roman, right? He was Punk's best friend, his mouthpiece, even though Punk didn't need a mouthpiece, right? He was his best friend. When he was with Brock, he was the advocate. He was almost like a freaking ring carny, a promoter for Brock. Brock was the attraction. For Roman, he was this subservient wise man. Maybe for Rollins, the relationship that he has with Rollins is that he openly hates Rollins. But damn if Rollins isn't right. Maybe he rocks with Seth because even though he doesn't like Seth, when has Seth lied about Roman, about Punk? Call him what you want, but you can't call him a liar. And maybe Heyman doesn't feel like he's got a lot of people he can trust. He doesn't feel like he can trust his best friend, and he doesn't feel like he can trust his tribal chief because when push comes to shove, they're just using him. And Seth is using him too, but at least he knows it. And better be used by the person that you know is using you, the devil that you know versus the devil that you don't. Now, obviously, this foreshadows an eventual breakup of the two of them, but nothing lasts forever. And it shouldn't. But let Paul Heyman be the incredible Paul Heyman. Let him show his dynamic range and the ability to be a chameleon. That pairing with Seth Rollins will take Seth to the next level and let Seth become the uber heel he always was meant to be. I would put Seth over. I don't even know, honestly, what WWE would actually do. Some of these predictions that we've talked about thus far have been, for the most part, they've been a conclusion that we can kind of understand why WWE would do this or why WWE would not do this. But this one, I have absolutely no idea exactly what direction I really think they're going to go in. So this is all prediction for me. And I think you put Seth freaking Rollins over with help from Heyman, and that be the conclusion to night one of WrestleMania 41. All right, so we are on to night two of WrestleMania 41. Like I said, I don't know if this is going to be the first match, but it's the first match on my list here for night two, and that's Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, the tag champs, and they are going up against, who are they going up against? Oh yeah, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Now, honestly, this one is a bit short and sweet for me. I enjoy all the parties that are involved, but let me be perfectly clear. Liv Morgan has done some of the best work in her career over 2024 and 2025 thus far. I definitely think that that woman should get the MVP for the women's division in 2025 for sure, and arguably 2024. She has just been doing incredible character work. She's not the best wrestler, but she doesn't have to be. This is WWE, man. You never actually have to be the best wrestler. And being the best wrestler alone does not make you the best WWE competitor. It just does not. Liv Morgan has been great on the mic. She's been great in the ring. She's got the fan adoration. People like her. And she's won over a lot of detractors. She knows what she's doing, and WWE is aware of it. I don't think that you have Liv and Raquel lose the tag team championships, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. You don't have them lose that title to a makeshift tag team, particularly when one of those participants in the makeshift tag team is also your women's intercontinental champion. That makes zero sense. Plus, we've already been foreshadowing a feud between Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, so there's no point in doing this. So Liv and Raquel go over. Liv's a star. Raquel has grown so much. Don't break this tag team up because they're established. And I think keeping the title on members of the Judgment Day serves a greater purpose moving down the card and moving into 2025. So, Liv and Raquel retain the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania 41. The next match, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Listen to me. The only thing I really have to say about this, because I like AJ Styles. I appreciate what he does in the ring. He will always be a Hall of Famer in my opinion. I am not a huge detractor of Logan Paul. I'm not one of those people. I know he has history outside the ring that some people can't get with, and that's fine. I totally understand that. But we've had plenty of wrestlers who have had history outside the ring that people did not get with, and some people did, right? Now, mileage may vary on how you feel about those things outside the ring, and that's cool. But you can't deny the fact that Logan can wrestle. Logan has picked up to this faster than any person who has stepped into this space and is not a professional wrestler by trade. So I give credit where credit's due. I'm trying to be honest here. So I think that if I had to pick a winner of this, I just don't see why you would put Logan over AJ. And I say that more so due to the unsung hero of this feud, Karrion freaking Kross. Can we please talk for a second about Karrion Kross? This man put on a stellar performance on the go-home episode of Monday Night Raw leading into WrestleMania 41. I am all about the mind games. I'm all about slow burn. I am all about characters laying the breadcrumbs, building the foundation for the move that they're going to make. I think Karrion Kross has been doing a stellar job of setting himself up as this master manipulator of people. It's a great way to utilize your time when you're not getting TV time, when you're not getting matches, when they're not putting you on the card for your televised programs, right? I don't know what the house show schedule looks like. I know it's very much truncated from what it used to be. So I don't know if he's wrestling a whole lot on the house show circuit. He could be, but on television, on Raw, we barely see Karrion Kross in the ring. This is the way you utilize that time, by building yourself into this manipulator of The Miz. You know, I'm probably missing someone in between, but now manipulating AJ Styles. And the subtle things, wearing the suits when he was around The Miz, and then AJ wearing his hair like AJ, cutting his beard like AJ, getting his ring gear made by the same people that made AJ's ring gear for their match. It's just these little things where Karrion Kross is trying to get into your head with the idea of bringing out the quote unquote better version of you. And that better version of you is usually cruel and mean and sadistic, and it works to his character. But more so than that, Karrion Kross and his performance on Raw was incredible. It was incredible. The nuance that he had in his movements and his actions and the things that he did and said, his gestures in the ring, they were incredible. I'm going to tell you something to pay attention to. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you caught this. And if you're new to the Lariat Lounge, like everyone is, because this is literally the first episode. If you're new to wrestling, though, and let's say for the sake of this conversation, you picked up Monday Night Raw, the Raw before WrestleMania, because you kind of wanted to lay a foundation for what you're about to experience over the weekend. Karrion Kross and his performance in that match was so emblematic of the character that he has been playing this entire time, which is a manipulator of men to get them to be an image of himself. Yes, he wanted to bring out the best in AJ Styles, but he wants to bring out this brutality in AJ that maybe AJ has quote unquote forgotten about, but it's really an extension of this evil that comes off of Karrion Kross. It's infecting others with his malice and his vitriol and his anger. That's what Karrion Kross is doing. And to willingly sacrifice himself, quote unquote, to the phenomenal forearm in that match, when AJ went up into the air to do the phenomenal forearm, you'll notice Karrion Kross puts his hands behind his back. He sacrifices himself to the move with a smile on his face because now I'm getting the AJ that I want. The AJ that's mad. The AJ that's angry. The AJ that will dig deep and go into that space where you're going to hurt someone. That's what Karrion Kross wants from AJ Styles. That's what he wanted from The Miz. He wanted The Miz to get angry and put himself in situations where he was going to get hurt, to manipulate him into destroying himself with his own rage and his own anger, to make himself destructive and put himself in a situation where he's going to get hurt. It's genius in the character design. In my opinion, to me, that is the only reason why I care about this match, because I want to see what comes of AJ Styles and Karrion Kross. So AJ Styles needs to win this match because I need more of this Karrion Kross AJ Styles story. I need more of this because this is where it's at. And you need to put Karrion Kross on TV more, WWE, or don't listen to me and keep doing what you're doing, because he is apparently cooking in the background, even if I can't smell it. So you let this man do what he does. Don't get in his way. Let this continue to build into something that's amazing, because he's doing us a service with this level of character work. And we're seeing this more with Karrion Kross, and we're seeing this more with Naomi, right? And we're seeing this all across the board where character work is being put on an equal platform as your ability in the ring. And that is important. That is important. We need to buy into your character just as much, if not more, than your ability in the ring. Because if we don't care about you, we don't care about your performance. No one's going to remember the matches. They're going to remember the moments. And those moments are built when they care about the characters. So make the characters count. So AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. AJ Styles has to go over. Let's see. What we got next? Okay. All right. Braun Breaker, the Intercontinental Champion, versus Penta, versus Finn Balor, versus Dominic Mysterio. This is for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker has been on a tear. I think he has accomplished in a short amount of time what it takes some superstars a very long time to do, which is to grab the wrestling cultural zeitgeist like a lightning bolt. He has been able to do that. His sheer athleticism and his energy in the ring have afforded him the ability to do that. His spears are already being touted as some of the greatest spears of all time. He's already usurping characters like Edge, characters like Goldberg, characters like Roman Reigns. They haven't brought up Roman Reigns' name like they brought up Goldberg, but let me tell you something. They haven't said Braun Breaker just performed the greatest spear second to somebody whose name we're not mentioning. So he's doing something right now that is incredible. And shout out to him. That Steiner blood is real. So let that man cook. Because of that, I don't think he needs the Intercontinental Championship. What I need right now is a dissolution of the Judgment Day, but it needs to be done the right way. We have been laying these seeds for the breakup of the Judgment Day for quite some time now. Finn has been all over Dom, all over the rest of the Judgment Day, and it's been laid out to us, to me anyway, what looks like a heel turn by Finn. that Finn is going to do something to turn on Dom. I think that some of the conversation online is looking at this idea of the match is going on and somehow Dom turns on Finn. And I don't think that's the case. Me personally, if I was booking it, I wouldn't do it like that. The dissolution of the Judgment Day needs to come at the hands of Finn Balor. Therefore, Finn Balor needs to turn on Dom. What is the best way, in my opinion, to do this? Dominic Mysterio needs to win this match. Dominic Mysterio, the one person that on paper should absolutely not win this match over Braun Breaker, Penta, and Finn Balor. The way they've set this character up with Dirty Dom, he should not win this match, but he should absolutely win this match. Now, I don't know who he pins. I don't think he should pin Finn, but I think you could have Finn do some kind of move. He could do the coup de grace and attempt to do the coup de grace, and let's say he misses and we get him out the ring somehow. Let's say he goes to do the coup de grace and he goes to do the coup de grace on Braun Breaker. He misses, right? Breaker gets up. Oh, you know what? Better said, let Finn try to do the coup de grace on Penta. He misses. He misses the coup de grace. He catches a spear from Braun Breaker. Okay? Finn gets speared, rolls out of the ring, right? Penta then hits Braun Breaker with that freaking Mexican Destroyer, right? He hits him with the Mexican Destroyer. Braun Breaker goes down, right? Then have Dominic Mysterio throw Penta out the ring, and Dom pins Braun and wins the Intercontinental Championship. Braun is the most bulletproof in this entire match. Like I said, Braun has built himself a platform right now that he is not going to easily be knocked off of. And if I'm being honest, it's not going to get knocked off by getting beat by Dominic Mysterio in this fatal four-way. It's not going to happen. And I think the fans are on Dom's side more than some of these internet commentators think. Dom pins Braun. He wins the IC Championship. Pat McAfee and Michael Cole lose their minds. The crowd is going to erupt. The crowd is going to erupt. Dom is going to look confused, but he won. He's the Intercontinental Champion. Liv and Raquel are going to come out there with Carlito, and they're going to all be freaking celebrating. Okay? Braun's going to look like what just happened, as well as Penta. Penta's going to be looking confused. That's what they need to do. They both need to look like what just happened. Finn's going to look the same way. And while the Judgment Day is celebrating in the ring, Finn needs to get in the ring and not be happy for Dom. Not be happy for Dom. And I don't know if he attacks Dom. Maybe he should. The Judgment Day's not going to attack Finn back, but maybe he should. Or he's not happy for Dom. He's clearly not happy for Dom. He ain't celebrating with him because Finn never actually cared. You could even plant some seeds where Finn does some things during that match that even though you're in a fatal four-way and it's every man for themselves, oftentimes when you have situations like these, the two people who may be in alliance with one another will not automatically turn on one another. They'll usually try to eliminate the rest of the competition and then bring it down to just the two of them. Maybe you lay these foundational seeds where Finn was attempting to do some really dirty stuff to Dirty Dom during the match. Maybe it was just unsuccessful. Dom didn't see it, but we saw it. We know what Finn was up to. Finn was out to win this title for himself. He was not on board with anybody winning it but him. So when Dom wins, Dom is expecting Finn to celebrate with him. And he doesn't. Finn walks out on the Judgment Day. And then you get the explanation for this on the following episode of Raw. And maybe you have Finn just go full out, I'm out. I don't like this. I never wanted you to win, blah, blah, blah. Or you could have him feign that he cares, that he's fine and all this stuff. And then you go into the feud between Dom and Finn. That's obviously where that would go, in my opinion. But Breaker is going to be fine from this. Penta is going to be fine from this because at some point you need to put Penta and Rey Fenix together because they're both in WWE now. You need to bring back the Lucha Brothers because the tag team division needs some gas. They need some help. And if you're just putting the titles on the New Day, the first feud that the New Day could go against the Lucha Brothers, or you save that for SummerSlam, come on. The checks write themselves, okay? Dominic Mysterio, your new Intercontinental Champion, goes over at WrestleMania 41. Give the title to ex-Con Dom. The next match on the card, honestly, is probably my least anticipated match. And it's not because these two individuals are bad. I think part of it is because WWE, in my opinion, has not done a very good job of building the anticipation for this match. I think they've tried. And I think for what it is that they put together, they were somewhat successful. But I also think that this was slightly undermined by Drew McIntyre's comments about Damian Priest, or at least what I believe he had said about Damian Priest. So let me not go out here speculating, but the next match in question is Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. And I believe this is a street fight of some kind. Oh, yes, a Sin City street fight. I will say this. I think that this match has the potential to be one of the matches of the night. If the Drew McIntyre CM Punk cage match is any indicator, it very well has the potential to be. Drew McIntyre has shown himself to be one of the best assets that WWE has. I think once you get past this feud with him and Damian, you need to figure out a way to line Drew up for something much bigger than the stage that he's currently on. Now, I have some personal ideas of what you do with Drew that involves a few other people, and one of them is injured currently, and we don't really know when he's going to be back. So I don't know exactly how you move with that, but there are ideas in my opinion. But I think Damian Priest has done a very good job of elevating himself to a main event level. I think he's definitely a main eventer at this point, and I think the fans have accepted him. WWE has accepted him. He's proven that he is a good commodity. I don't think that his title run was all that great, but I don't think WWE ever intended for it to be, so I don't think that's his fault. But I think this match goes down to the wire. God, I don't know who wins this. If you put Drew over, I feel like Damian loses a whole lot more than if you put Damian over, because Drew McIntyre he's already there. He's solid. However, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me somehow to make Drew lose again, because he's been talking a lot of crap about a lot of people, and he's done some of his best mic work, and I think you should reward that. So if I had to make a decision right now, which I'm going to, I think you put Drew McIntyre over. I think Damian Priest has done a good job of setting himself up, and WWE needs to continue to invest in him. I don't think that it's on Damian Priest right now to make Damian Priest a bigger star. I think he's bringing everything to the table. WWE needs to uphold their end of the bargain and continue to put him in great storylines, in great matches, and give him a chance to be the person that he believes himself to be, and that a lot of us believe that he is. Drew McIntyre has already shown that, and he's already proven that. And so I do think you should reward great work. And Drew McIntyre, like Liv Morgan, he was my MVP last year. I think he just did some stellar work. And so give this man this win. Let's move on to something else. I don't know what that is for Drew, but Drew McIntyre needs to go over here. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. I, like others, feel like this build for this match was poorly executed. I think it's going to be a great match because all three women in this match are incredible. But I think that this build where Bianca and Rhea are overlooking the champion, I don't know, it just seems kind of lackluster for a WrestleMania build. I feel like I don't know. I guess I just feel like WWE has not done a good job of building up Io Sky to be the credible world champion that she is. I think she's an incredible wrestler. Rhea Ripley and Bianca are incredible wrestlers. I think Io has a language barrier, and I think because you have that language barrier, you have to work 10 times as hard on WWE's side to make sure she gets over. Like, that is your responsibility. You need to bridge the gap, WWE. Bridge the gap between Io and the fans, because the connection is there, but there's a gap, right? That gap is the responsibility of WWE to fill. And how do you do that? You book her better. You book Io better. I know she recently won the championship, right? And I think it was in service of the storyline, but that storyline seemed to be way more between Rhea and Bianca, even though Io is currently Rhea's kryptonite. Rhea has not been able to beat her. But I also feel like that's a statistic that a lot of people really did not either know or care about until they told us about it. And I believe it's true, but I say that because it does not hold the significant weight to make us really care about it. But we love Io. So I think this match is going to be great. It could steal the show because, like I said, all three of these women are incredible. They're incredible. And so the match is going to be incredible. I just don't know who should leave with the title after this. I definitely feel like Bianca she's cruising for a heel turn. Her promos lately, the vignette leading into WrestleMania just seemed like she's going to lean into the part of her song that I always felt was very heel, which was, I never needed you at all. That's to the fans, boo. That's to the fans. She never needed the fans at all. So when she turns heel and they boo, I never needed you at all. She's already the roughest, the toughest, the quickest, the fastest, the strongest, the best. She's already these things, and it wasn't due to fan participation. And she doesn't need people to agree with her methods or her motives or the reason she does what she does. She's going to go and she's going to win because she is the best. Listen, that right there isn't even the heel who believes that they're right. She's just right. She's just right. And you may not like it, but it's true. And I think she's headed for a heel turn. So I don't know if you put the title on her right now. Like, I just don't know. And with Rhea, I feel like Rhea just lost the title. And I think that Rhea is very much capable of doing what Charlotte seems to be incapable of, which is opening up to a multifaceted persona. She's already shown us a bit of that when the Judgment Day dissolved and she did not have her family around her, when she did not have her boys with her. She lost a bit of her identity. And so she's always trying to prove that whatever is happening around her is not affecting her. And as a matter of fact, that showed itself in the Bianca, in the her match with Io, where she lost a championship. She was convinced that Bianca wanted Io to win over her. And the way that the story was set up, Bianca was out there just watching the match, and she wanted to see a good match, and she wanted Io to get back in the ring. And she took her eyes off the prize, and she started to assume that things were happening when they may not have been. It's an airplane going overhead. And it cost her. It cost her the championship. I think if Rhea wins now, I don't think we get the full arc of this story beat for Rhea. And Rhea is capable of doing more. And just like with Braun Breaker, Rhea is a made woman right now. She is that girl in the women's division. And so she doesn't need the title because she's already got the fans in the palm of her hand. So her not winning this is not going to set her back at all. Io, however, in my opinion, stands to lose a lot because I think the fans like her, but they like her because she is incredible in the ring and she's fun and she's easy to like. But WWE is not invested in bridging that gap that she has due to her language barrier for us to be able to connect with her personality. We just don't get it with the subtext and the subtitles. We just don't get it because the language that she speaks does not share the same inflections of phonemes that we have in the English language. So we can't really understand when she's talking just based on how it sounds sonically when she's upset about something, or when she's mad about something, or when she's sad. We don't catch the same inflections in her voice that indicate certain things that she's trying to convey because we don't speak Japanese. And so WWE has to do a better job at bridging these gaps. And I think WWE still has a problem with that they need to figure out how to do. So Io needs to keep the title here. I feel like that pushes Bianca and Rhea further down their arcs, particularly because in this story arc, they've been focused on each other and not focusing on the threat that Io Sky is. So Io losing this match just validates the fact that they didn't need to pay attention to her in the first place. So Io needs to win this match. Bianca and Rhea are not going to be damaged at all if they don't win here. In fact, their individual story arcs are going to grow. We're going to help to legitimize Io in the only way that WWE seems to understand right now, which is to keep a title on her. And if that's the best they can do, and that best they can do is that she be the world champion for right now, then by all means let it be. Io Sky goes over at WrestleMania 41. And now for the main event of night 2. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Now I'm just going to go ahead and give you my prediction out front. John Cena wins. John Cena needs to win this match. I'm going to go ahead and get my obvious statement out of the way. You don't do a heel turn and don't justify the heel turn or don't validate the heel turn by giving them a loss. Now, to compound that, you don't give the loss to John Cena on his heel turn at WrestleMania. If there was a heel turn in the history of heel turns that you should validate by stamping it, you need to do it with this one. It's John Cena's finale run. He's turned heel. And honestly, he has done, in my opinion, the best heel turn in the history of the WWE. I mean that. He has done the best heel turn in the history of World Wrestling Entertainment. You have to have 25 years of career like John Cena had to make the argument that he's making, that I broke myself for you. I bled for you. I did everything for you for 25 years. All the while you tell me that I suck. You tell me that I can't wrestle. But this was all in service of you. So when I choose to do something for me, in my final run in WWE, I'm choosing to do it for me. This is not a new idea, but the significance of it takes a whole new dimension when you add to the fact that aside from his prototype debut, this man has been a face for his entire career. Well, let's be honest. Rapper Cena was not a good guy, and he played a bad guy at ECW One Night Stand, but we don't count that. The same way we don't count a bunch of Ric Flair's titles. John Cena has spent the better part of 20 plus years being Mr. Hustle, loyalty, respect. Always showing up, always doing the work, defying the odds, and people liked me until they didn't like me. And then he goes to the woodshed. He comes back better and he wins and he wins. And instead of liking me, instead of appreciating that, you turn on me. You boo me. I come back from injury and you still boo me. You like the pop. You like my merch. You like what I give you, but you show no real love or no real appreciation. The fact that he broke up with the WWE is incredible. I love it. And listen, I was one of those people who was very much looking forward to John Cena's first debut after turning on Cody. I was looking forward to that too. I was certain that we were going to see something different. We were going to get some new music, which I think we're still going to get. I thought we were going to get maybe some new ring gear, a new entrance, which I still think we're going to get. But I thought we were going to get that stuff. So when Cena showed up and it was his regular music and his regular ring gear, But he's walking to the ring because he doesn't care to do that anymore because he's got something to say. I thought it was a stroke of genius. That's what you want from me, isn't it? You want more from me. And I'm not giving you more because I've given you everything of me for 25 years. This is my music. That's my voice in that song. This is my merch that I like. I'm not changing it for you. Why would I? You're sitting here literally telling me right now that I suck, to shut the F up, to go away. So no, I'm not giving you anything. I think it's great. And it plays perfect to the good guy foil of Cody Rhodes because Cody Rhodes is the whitest of white meat baby faces right now. He is the consummate good guy. He is the superhero who has lived long enough to see Superman turn evil. And it's glorious. Cody needs this arc and he needs to lose. He needs to lose to Cena. The final boss needs to get involved, but Cena needs to go over. Cody needs to lose. Cody's not going to hurt at all from this because he's going into the biggest storyline ever with John Cena's retirement run. And let me be perfectly clear. I think Cody is going to be a part of John Cena's retirement run for the entirety of the rest of it. Maybe right up until the end he separates because it needs to be about Cena. But going through SummerSlam, absolutely. I would have Cena hold the WWE Championship all the way up through, I would have him hold the title all the way up through Survivor Series. Have him lose the title at Survivor Series. You could drop it back to Cody. But if I'm honest, I would love to see Cody be the world heavyweight champion because that would absolutely legitimize that title because Cody's that big. But you could have him drop the belt back to Cody at Survivor Series, or you could have him drop it at SummerSlam. That's the place that I think typically people would think, you would have Cody drop it to Cena at Mania, Cena hold it through Bad Blood, SummerSlam comes up and Cena loses to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. And then you go from SummerSlam, which is in August? That goes from August into December, which is the end of Cena's run, where Cena maybe has a redemption arc. Maybe he realizes at some point, some way, that The Rock doesn't actually care about him at all. Maybe his final match is against the final boss. Who knows? But who knows? Listen, Cena could go out as a heel. Maybe he doesn't maybe he doesn't have a redemption arc. That would be awesome too. It's his choice. At this point, he has already built his entire legacy. This is a fun, cool stepping stone that he is adding on to his already enormous mountain of accomplishments, first ballot Hall of Fame career. So he can handle this however he wants. Cody Rhodes will be fine. He'll be bulletproof from this. But as far as WrestleMania 41 is concerned, John Cena goes over main event night 2 of WrestleMania 41. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you, just like I, enjoy WrestleMania 41 with some friends, enjoy it with some good food, enjoy it in the comfort of your own home or at your local sports bar or pub or wherever you're going to go. Or if you're there, if you're in Vegas, enjoy it. I had the best time in Philadelphia for WrestleMania 41. When I got to the stadium, man, it was so many people. I have so many pictures of the thousands of people that were there, man. And we were in a skybox. So when I got there, I met up with all the people that I was going there with. Ring Rust Radio, you need to tune into them. They have a great podcast. These guys are amazing. And we all got together last year and we went to Mania and we all pitched in, myself, the host of Ring Rust Radio, and the rest of us fans. We all contributed some money. We all got one of the skyboxes. We got up there. The food was mid, but the show and the view was incredible. We had a great time. It'll be an experience that I will hold on to for the rest of my life. So if you're fortunate enough to be going to WrestleMania 41 this year, enjoy it, my friends. Enjoy it because it is an experience unlike any other. Eat some great food. If you want a stadium hot dog or something like that, sure, go for it. But eat something good while you're there. I don't know what Vegas is known for food-wise, but enjoy yourself. Eat some good food, buy some stuff. If you can afford it, do what I regret not being able to do, which is buy a championship belt. That's the one thing I wanted to do. Anyway, you all take care of yourselves and come back next week. We'll be here live, like live. There should be a few episodes up, so come back and let's talk about WrestleMania 41 and those results, okay? Thank you. We love you guys over here. This has been the Lariat Lounge. Watch your way going out.